Serah Okafor had always lived a life of privilege, shielded from the harsh realities of the world by her parents' immense wealth and influence. Raised with grace and dignity, she had been taught that her family's reputation was everything. Her parents, Chief and Mrs. Okafor, were known for their charitable works, strong business empire, and untainted name in society. But in one reckless night, Serah's perfect life shattered into something unrecognizable. It all started when she decided to let loose for once in her life. Heartbroken from a recent failed relationship, she allowed her friends to convince her to go to a high-end bar to drown her sorrows in expensive wine. She had never been one to indulge in alcohol, but that night, she threw caution to the wind, drinking more than she could handle. And that was when she met Joseph Johnson. Joseph Johnson, on the other hand, was not a man of luck. He was a man of strategy. He had always wanted wealth, but he lacked the patience and discipline to earn it. He had spent years struggling, watching men with rich fathers and powerful connections rise effortlessly while he fought for every naira. The world, he believed, was unfair, and he had decided long ago that he wouldn't play fair either. It was by sheer coincidence that he first learned about Serah Okafor. He had been working as a driver for a logistics company when he overheard two wealthy men discussing the Okafor family's fortune at a bar. They spoke of Chief Okafor's businesses, his real estate empire, and most importantly, his only daughter Serah. The girl has everything, one man had laughed. If you marry someone like Serah, you don't need to work a day in your life. That single statement lighted a spark in Joseph's mind. If he could get close to Serah, if he could find a way to make her his, he could secure a life of luxury without lifting a finger. Joseph didn't act immediately. He was smart enough to know that a woman like Serah wouldn't fall for just anyone. She was wealthy, beautiful, and well protected by her family. If he wanted to trap her, he needed information. He spent weeks researching everything about her. Family background. The Okafors were one of the most respected families in the States. Their reputation was spotless, and Chief Okafor was known for being strict about his daughter's status. Marrying into their family meant instant access to wealth, lifestyle, and habits. Serah was not a social butterfly, but she occasionally went out with friends. She preferred high-end places, especially exclusive bars and lounges where the elites gathered. Past relationships. He learned that Serah had recently ended a serious relationship. From social media gossip and a few sources, he discovered that she had been heartbroken, making her vulnerable. Weaknesses. Serah was the type who valued her family's honor above all else. A scandal involving her would destroy her parents' pristine image, something she would never allow. With this knowledge, Joseph waited for the perfect moment. He followed her movements subtly, taking note of when she went out and how much she drank. Then, one fateful night, he made his move. When Joseph saw Serah at the bar that night, she was exactly as he had hoped, distraught and drinking heavily. He approached her smoothly, pretending to be just another concerned stranger. His words were carefully chosen, his gestures gentle, his presence non-threatening. Serah, lost in her pain and intoxication, didn't resist when he bought her more drinks. She didn't even notice when he took her phone from the table, sent himself a text from it, and deleted the evidence. Now he had her number. When she could barely stand, Joseph offered to take her home. Instead, he took her to his rented apartment. He staged the scene carefully, making sure she was too intoxicated to know what had happened. Then, he took compromising photos of her image that, if leaked, would ruin her and her family's reputation. When Serah woke up the next morning, her head was pounding, her mouth dry, and her body aching in an unfamiliar way. As she blinked in confusion, she realized she was in an unfamiliar room, wrapped in nothing but a sheet. Panic surged through her as she tried to recall the events of the night before. Then she saw Joseph sitting at the edge of the bed, holding his phone up with a smirk. Her stomach twisted. What? What is this? She stammered, pulling the sheets tighter around her body. Joseph leaned forward, his expression unreadable. "You were drunk last night, Serah. I helped you, but I also made sure I take a few pictures. You look beautiful lying there in my bed exposed." Serah's blood turned to ice. "No, you didn't." Joseph turned the phone screen towards her, and her heart stopped. There, in clear, undeniable image, was her naked body, vulnerable, helpless. "Listen, Serah," Joseph continued, his voice calm but laced with steel. "If you don't marry me, I will put these pictures all over the internet. Your parents' name will be ruined, your father's businesses destroyed. You know how these things work. One scandal and your family's reputation will never recover. Do you want your parents to suffer because of your mistake?" Tears welled up in Serah's eyes. She wanted to scream, to fight, but she knew he was right. Her parents had spent their whole lives building their legacy. A scandal like this would not only shame them but also tarnish everything they had worked for. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Why? Why are you doing this?" Joseph shrugged. "Because I need more in life, Serah, and you are my way in." A long silence stretched between them before he stood up, smoothed his shirt, and gave her a final look. "You have 1 week. If you don't give me the answer I want, the world will see these pictures." The following week was a blur of fear and helplessness for Serah. She couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. She tried to think of ways to escape, but Joseph had made it clear, if she ran, he would release the pictures. With no other choice, she agreed to marry him. Her parents were overjoyed when she announced her sudden engagement. They had always wanted her to settle down, and though they were surprised at how quickly it all happened, they accepted it. Joseph played his role perfectly, acting like the devoted, loving fiancé in front of everyone. The wedding was a grand affair, attended by dignitaries, politicians, and business moguls. Serah stood beside Joseph in an elegant white gown, her face painted with a forced smile. Beneath the layers of makeup, her eyes were hollow, her soul trapped in a prison she could not escape. After the vows were exchanged and the celebrations died down, Serah's parents gifted them everything they thought would make their marriage blissful: a luxurious mansion, expensive cars, and even a company for Joseph to run. What they didn't know was that they had unknowingly funded their daughter's nightmare. Face ended, Joseph revealed his true nature. He never once pretended to love Serah behind closed doors. He didn't try to be a good husband. He saw her as nothing more than a possession, a tool he had used to climb the social ladder. He controlled everything: her money, her movements, even her thoughts. If she spoke too much, he silenced her. If she made a mistake, he reminded her of his power. "You think you are special because of your parents' money?" He scoffed one night when she dared to question his spending habits. "Without them, you are nothing. And don't forget, I still have those pictures." Any mistake, no matter how small, leads to violence. A misplaced cup, a delayed dinner, even the way she looked at him sometimes enraged him. He would grab her by the hair, slap her, and remind her that she was his prisoner. Serah tried to reach out to her parents once, but Joseph intercepted her calls, reminding her of what he could do if she ever betrayed him. "You leave, I ruin you," he whispered one night as he tightened his grip around her wrist. "You think your parents will love you if they find out what happened? You think they'll forgive you? No, Serah, you are stuck with me forever." And just like that, Serah lost all hope. She had married a monster, and there was no escape. One night, after a particular brutal beating, Serah stumbled into the kitchen, her face bruised, her body aching. Her chef, Emmanuel, had always been kind to her. He had witnessed her suffering in silence, but he dared not interfere. Joseph was a dangerous man. That night, however, Serah broke down in front of him. Why do I have to suffer like this?" she sobbed, collapsing into a chair. Emmanuel hesitated, then knelt before her. "You don't deserve this, ma'am." "No one does." The warmth in his voice, the concern in his eyes, it was something Serah hadn't felt in years. In that vulnerable moment, she sought comfort in his arms. One thing led to another, and before she could think, she had done something irreversible. She slept with Emmanuel. It was supposed to be a mistake, a one-time escape from her misery, but fate had other plans. She became pregnant. When she discovered the pregnancy, fear gripped her. If Joseph found out, he would kill her. There was no doubt about it, so she played along, pretending the child was his. For months, she kept up the act. She endured his abuse while carrying a child that did not belong to him. She hoped, prayed that she would be able to hide the truth forever. But Joseph was not a fool. After the child was born, he began to notice the differences. The child's complexion was slightly darker, the features distinct. His suspicions grew. Then, one day, he found an old text exchange on Serah's phone, messages between her and Emmanuel, which consumed him. "You think I wouldn't find out? You filthy whore," he roared, slamming her against the wall. "You carried another man's child, made me the fool?" And Serah trembled, knowing she had no way out. Joseph grabbed his hand and smacked. "Now you will know what it means to be blackmailed. If you don't do as I say from now on, I will tell your parents, I will expose you. You will lose everything." Serah's nightmare had only just begun.